Hi dear students, welcome to the English class, and this is a very important class, and that letter writing, and this is question number 10th. This is the 10th question of second year intermediate. So under this 10th question, two letters will be asked. Two letters will be asked, and this is 5 marks. Each letter is for 5 marks. That means one letter will be the choice letter. So here two letters will be asked. One is formal letter. Under question number 10, the very first question is informal letter. And under question number 10, question number B is letter of a complaint, or letter to the editor, or letter to the district collector, or letter to the college principal, or like that. So informal letter and formal letters will be asked under the question number 10, and this letter writing is for 5 marks. See, every student should have a thorough knowledge over writing a letter. And letter writing a letter plays a vital role in our life, in our society too. So in spite of having mobile phones or SMS, WhatsApp, Insta, messengers, all these things, still letters have an important role in our community. So if you wanted to exchange a message or exchange an information, letters are the forms. Letters are the vehicles to transform information to one place to another places. And so by using letters, by writing letters, we can share our feelings, our emotions, our opinions, and sometimes we may advise our friends or relatives by writing a letter. So this is how important writing a letter is. But what are the format of writing? So how do we write a letter to a person to whom we wanted? See here, basically letters are of two categories, two types. The very first type of letter is formal type letters. Here see, I have drawn a simple T diagram. See, the first type is formal letter and second type is informal letter. So let us know first here, formal letters are written to the formal letters are also known as official letters. That means the letters which we write to officials or a business associates. We write the formal letter to the officials and business associates. And the other name of formal letters is that official letters. So official letters. And now, so what sort of language we use to write an official letter or a formal letter? So we use a decent language. The language must be very decent. The language must be very respectable. It should not be like ordinary language. We should not use the language which we use to communicate with our friends, relatives, and parents, all this. This language is not supposed to be used when you write formal letters. So a decent language is to be used. That is what sort of language is required to write a formal letter? That is nothing but a decent language, a formal language. Now see, and as we talked that the formal letters are written to the officials, business associates, officials and business associates. And see what sort of letters we write using a formal letter. See, we can write these letters can be business letters and also can be official letters and letters of complaints. That means we write these letters to complaint. For example, in our locality, the menace or the disturbance of the dogs. So that you may write a letter to the municipal office or municipal chairperson to take care of dogs, street dogs. Or there is a problem in drainage system, or the roads in our locality are not up to the mark. You may write a letter complaining that your the roads in our street or avenue are not so good. See, that is how you can write letters of complaint. That means you can give complaints by writing a letter. And we can also write letters to the official peoples. And letters of application. See, for any job application, for any job opportunities, we may approach by writing letters, that is nothing but letters of application, and letters to the editor. This is very important, and mostly there is a possibility of asking this question: write a letter to the newspaper editor to intimate or to tell him that the millions of street dogs in our locality, or if there is any problem in our locality, you may write a letter to the newspaper editor of any news, right? See here, so these are the types of letters here. The very first letter is formal letter, and these formal letters are also called as official letter. And what sort of language do we need to use? It is a decent language. A decent language is required to write a formal letter. And so formal letters are also written to the business associates and officials. These letters are particularly written to the business associates and officials, and these letters can be a business letters and also official letters, or letters of complaints and letters of application, letters to the editor. So the official letters can be business letters, official letters, letters of complaints, letters of application, letters to the editor. Okay, now so we write these letters like. And whereas on the other hand we have informal letters. Informal letters. See, informal letter in the sense of personal letter. See, by writing this informal letter, one can express one's personal information, personal opinion, or personal suggestion, or personal information can be shared to near and dear ones, particularly to our friends, to our relatives, or family members. See, these letters, these informal letters can be written to friends and relatives, family members, and near and dear ones. Near and dear ones. The people who are very close to us are near and dear and near ones. Okay, so, and what sort of language do we need to use in informal letter? So already we studied, we came to know that a decent language is required to write a formal letter. But whereas when it comes to informal letter, what is a language? What sort of language is required to write an informal letter? Informal letter in the sense of personal letter. So to write a personal letter, what is the language that is required? Here the language that is required is to write a formal letter is colloquial language. What is language here? Colloquial language. Colloquial language in the sense of the language which we use to communicate with our parents, to communicate with our friends, to communicate with our relatives. That means an informal language. An informal language can be used to write informal letter. So these are the basic types of letter. And now we shall discuss what are the formats of writing both formal letter and also informal letter. Okay, now right. And here there are three formats of writing a formal letter or informal letter, and you can use any format you like in intermediate level. Here, but mostly fully blocked format at right now is used in intermediate level. So once again I mentioned you that there are three formats of writing letters, whether it is a formal letter or informal letter. But you can use these three formats writing both formal and informal letter. But mostly fully blocked format is used at present. Okay, so the very first format of writing a letter is either it is formal letter or informal letter, that is indented letter. So indented format, and this format is also known as traditional format. Traditional format. And now see, another format is blocked format. Up to 10th class we have only the intended format, that is a traditional format. But whereas when it comes to intermediate, you may come to know a blocked format, and also another format is fully blocked format. You can use any one of these format to write formal or informal letter. So the very first one is intended format, that is nothing but a traditional format, and second one is blocked format, and third one is fully blocked format. And before we get into the topic, what is the format of indented and what is the format of blocked, and how the format of fully blocked. Now before going to talk about all these things, let us talk about what are the parts of the letter. So how these parts are useful in writing a letter. Okay, let us know the parts of the letter right now. Right now, letters, or sorry, the parts of the letter. So to write a letter needs some parts. And what are the important parts which are in letter writing? So there are about 5 parts, and these 5 parts are very, very important in writing a letter. They are, the very first part is heading of the letter. So this is a first part of the writing a letter, heading. And now second part is salutation. So salutation, and this can also be called as a greeting note. So salutation is also a greeting note. And now third one is body of the letter. And if you are asked a question, what is the main important part of writing letter, is body of the letter. Body of the letter is very, very important part of the letter. And now subscription, this is nothing but a leaving take, subscription. And finally superscription, it is superscription, that is nothing but a receiver's address. And this superscription can be at initial part of the letter, at while you are writing a formal letter, whereas when you are writing an informal letter, this superscription should be the end of the letter. So this is the difference between the superscription in both formal letter and also informal letter. And here basically heading. Now let us talk about heading. So here heading consists 3 parts. There are 3 parts heading. The very first part of the heading is sender's address. In formal letter, heading consists of 3 parts. The very first part is sender's address. That means the person who is writing a letter is sender. So sender's address and date of writing a letter, on which date you are writing a letter. So that is the date of writing a letter. And also receiver's address. There are 3 major parts in heading. The very first one is sender's address, and second one is the date of writing a letter, and third one is receiver's address. Now how do we write these 3 parts in heading? So how do we write heading in a formal letter? So firstly here I write here sender's address. How a sender's address would be written, and so here it is very easy. 7-11, Prakash Nagar. So you can take any place or any avenue or any street or any colony. So this is a door number, Prakash Nagar, and main street or main village or a town. Here I mentioned here Vijayawada, full stop. So this is how a sender's address would be written. The very first thing is you write door number of a particular person, and now colony or street or avenue of a particular town, and now write the name of the town or a village where you wanted to send a letter. So this is a sender's address. That is how you should write a sender's address. Now coming to the date of writing a letter. In formal letter, after writing sender's address, you should write the date of the writing a letter. Here see, I just mentioned you 3 ways of writing a date. The very first one is you can write 10th March 2021. Here, there you should not use any comma after March, because here this is in number and these are in numbers. Here see, March is written in the form of letters, whereas 2021 is written in the form of numbers. So that there is a classification already. There you should not classify once again by keeping a comma. So you should not keep a comma after the month and year, before the month and year. So in this format you can see March. When you start writing a date with a month, definitely you can use a comma. See here, March 10, same date, March 10, but here see 10th and 2020 are written in numerical numbers. numbers, so that if you wanted to classify date and year, then you should use a comma. When you start writing date, when you start writing date with month. So if you are starting a date with a month, then you should use a comma here. And you are not writing a date with a day, particular day, there you should not use any comma. And another important thing is that you should not use a date like this 21 dash 10th dash 2021. This is not absolutely wrong. And you should not also use this is also a wrong one, 10th March 2021. So this can also be not used. To write a proper date, this is the right order. So 10th March 2021 and March 10th 2021. There you should not use any other than writing these two format. And now coming to the receiver's address. See, already we discussed sender's address, and next how a date is written. And now coming to the receiver's address, how do we write address of the receiver? See here, the editor. See, simply if you are writing a letter to the newspaper editor, simply in writing receiver's address, you just mention the position of a particular person, or the address of the receiver, or address of a company. That is far more enough. See here, you think that you are writing a letter to the newspaper editor, and now the editor of the Hindu, or you can write to the Deccan Chronicle. And here where this Hindu newspaper is located, it is located in Vijayawada. See here, the position is editor and company Hindu, and name of the place where the newspaper editor is located, so Vijayawada. So now, for example, this is one type of format. If you are writing a letter to the newspaper editor, there you should use in such a way. But whereas when you are writing a letter to the college principal or a school principal, how receiver's address is to be written? See, this is the principal, Government Junior College, Rajahmundry, East Godavari district. That is enough. This is very simple. So the principal, Government Junior College, Rajahmundry. And this is how you should write heading. So under the heading we have three parts. The very first one is sender's address, second one is date, and third one is receiver's address. And sender's address would be written in a very simple ordinary format, and second one is date is written here. See, so this is the best way to write the date, and you should avoid writing dates like this. And now coming to the receiver's address, you just mention position of the receiver, and also company of the receiver, or name of the position he held, and next name of the place or name of the town in which he lives. That is enough. So these are the three things under the address, under the heading. Now let us talk about salutation. How a salutation is written in both formal and informal letter. Now the very second part of writing a letter is salutation. Already the first part has been successfully completed. The first part is nothing but heading. Heading consisted with the three parts. The very first part is sender's address, second one is date of writing a letter, and third one is receiver's address. Now coming to the salutation. In other words, salutation can be said as a greeting note. Salutation can be said as a greeting notes. And here greeting note or a salutation would be different from official letters or business letter. When you are writing an official letter, the salutation would be different. Whereas when it comes to the business letter, salutation will also be different. And on the other hand, when you come to the informal letter, that is a personal letter, when it comes to the personal letter, the salutation is completely different. Now let us talk about how a salutation would be in official letters. So you can mention, if you are writing a person, if you are writing a letter to a particular male person, there you can say a salutation sir. It is more enough to say sir. And if you are writing a female person, then you better say madam. That is enough. And if the person is unknown, You don't know to whom you are writing. You don't know the person to whom you are writing is male or a female. There you should better write to sir or madam. That is enough in official letters. So this is a way how you need to address how you need to greet with the people, like sir, madam, sir or madam. And this sir or madam can be written when a person is unfamiliar, when a person is unknown. That means whether male or female. Right. And now coming to the business letters, how a salutation would be. See, in business letter you can use the word dear. See, dear sir, or dear madam. So just very little slight difference. So where we do, here we do not use dear in official letters, whereas in business letter you can add the word dear. Okay, dear sir, dear madam. Or here when the person is not familiar, when the person is unknown, there you should use dear sir or madam. Dear sir or madam. So this is in official letters. Now let us know how a salutation would be in informal letter. Right. Now salutation will be in informal letter like this. For example, now you are writing a letter to your father. So salutation, you can write salutation here, my dear father. In the same way, you are writing a letter to your mother, my dear mother. Or when you are writing a letter to your sister or brother, you can write my dear sister or my dear brother. Or if you are writing a letter to uncle, my dear aunt or my dear uncle, that is enough. So when you are writing a letter to your relatives. But whereas when it comes to writing a letter to a friend, how a salutation would be. See here, you should write salutation here, dear Madhu or dear Raju. That means here you should mention the name of the person. And here see, generally it is, we are habituated to write a letter, dear friend. Dear friend, it should not be, as you are writing a letter to a friend, there you should not mention salutation again friend, dear friend. So instead of writing a friend, instead of writing a common noun of friend, you should write a proper name of particular friend, that is proper name, Madhu or Rajesh or Sunil or Anil. So this is how salutation would be different from the both formal and informal, both official and business letters. And we have other 3 parts, that is body of the letter and subscription, superscription. And in coming video we will discuss body of the letter, subscription and superscription, and how a format of the blocked, fully blocked format and intended format. Thank you all of you. Thank you very much.